I'm Michál Anna, and this is Intuitive Talk Story. And I am excited to welcome my special guest today, Rita Gendelman. Welcome.
Oh, thank you, sweetie. It's an honor to be here.
It's an honor to have you. I'm so excited to talk with you today. We have so many juicy things that are really aligned and similar, and I'm excited to hear your reflections and perspectives on some of the things that I know I love as well. So, before we do that, just going to take a moment and open our show with just taking a second to come into our breath. We're going to close our eyes in here and just take a moment to breathe together and ground into this moment and open a sacred space. We just call in the truth. We call in our hearts. We call in our alignment to source, that we commune from our harmonic, balanced head and hearts for the highest good of all beings here and now in this yummy space. Taking a nice breath and just grounding into the center of the earth, acknowledging source, and releasing anything from your day or anything that's any cords, connectors, and just coming into this framework here and now. And so it is. Mahalo Ke Akua. And so, thank you, Rita. Thank you so much. So, to get started a little bit, both of us engage in a lot of movement and a lot of spirit work and work with people. So, this is going to be so fun. So, tell the audience, tell them, little listeners, a little bit about what you engage in that department.
Sure. I'm a tango teacher at the present moment. I've always loved dance all my life. In Ukraine, originally, which was where I'm from, I was a ballerina and a gymnast. So lots of background in movement because my ADHD brain needs a lot of movement. That's my lifeline. And the other thing is that I do healing work and I work with intergenerational trauma using family constellation modality.
Yes, yeah, it's so fun. So tell the listeners a little bit about family constellations.
Yes. So this work works with the family system, and we're all born into a family. We'll have a mom and a dad, and we all have ancestors. And science has proven what the ancient traditions knew a long time ago, that all the memories, all the lived experience of our ancestors actually are passed on and live in us, in our DNA and our memories. And those experiences show up in our daily life through the people that we meet. And the challenges that we encounter in our life are often expressed through are expressed because of something in the past where there's stuck energy, there's disconnected energy, there is trauma that's still lived, that's undigested, where the next of kin carries it and picks it up, and it's expressing themselves in our daily lives through relationships typically, or health issues, or finances.
Exactly. So this is so cool because this, of course, is work I engage in on a daily basis too. And yeah, let's dive in a little bit to this ancestral wounding aspect, and then maybe we'll move into some movement. But this is so juicy right here. So I'm sure we have really different methods of getting into that work, but just to kind of reflect on that, we're all dealing, in my experience, we're all, moving with the stories from our past, the stories of our father's line, the story of our mother's line, and usually a dominant line, right? And so then we have a dominant line, and what we're really activating that lineage. And then, one thing that I've really been loving working with people to just kind of bring this into the field for everybody out there in working with your ancestral lineage. We think a lot about clearing our lines, which there's a lot to clear, of course. I've had tons to clear in my own lineage, and I've worked very deeply at clearing the mother and father lines. And that's when I'm working with clients, I get to help open the gates and allow them to move on home and go home and to release in a dimensional framework. That's kind of, I work in those areas. So when we think about this framework, how do you like to approach it? Like, what's a tool or a way that you see it in working with the ancestry and then bringing in the blessings?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a really, one of the fun things I'm really loving. And so share a little bit about your perspective on that.
Well, just to give an example, a woman comes to me last week and she says, I don't know how to receive love. I just can't. And she's like 49 years old and she can't receive love. And what we found out is that her mom was raped and her mom had to have an abortion because she was raped. And her mother did not have the ability to give the love that she wanted because of the grief that she was carrying, because it's such an intense experience. And this woman learned that love is to shut yourself down. Love is all about grief. Love is all about supporting the other person, that she doesn't exist and she can't receive love. So that, to me, is such a big piece. And what she did is honor her mother, her mother's pain. And she took her mother in and she said, you are my mom and I love you and I understand that you were in pain, but I could see you still love me. Behind the grief, there is love. So there is always this restoration of this love that lives behind all the dramas and traumas. There's always love. And I love going back to that. And she asked her mother for the blessing. And at that moment, I was energetically tuning into her mom, and it was very obvious that the blessing came right in. And I shared the words that came through her mother to give her the blessing so she can receive love, that she knows she belongs to this family, to this life, and that she can exist.
I love that. I love that. So very cool. That's a great, and so this is a great example of the emotional wounding and how our immediate life, 0 to 7, is really impacting how we move in the world and how we receive love from our mother's side. And then on our father's side, how we are worthy, our worthiness, right? So Rita and I are we both understand a lot of these same concepts and we work with the same stuff. So we're just seeing it from different angles, but pretty much the same, which is what I love about the work, because it doesn't really matter who we are or what system we created or follow. When you get down to it, it's the truth. And we kind of name different things. We might use a different way of approaching it. But when it comes down to it, you can't skip anything. It's like you go through the fire and however you go through the fire, right?
Agreed. You go through the fire. That's it. That's a beautiful analogy.
Yeah, you can't. I was telling a client the other day because they were saying, I don't get to skip it. I'm like, no, you have to go through the fire. There's no way around the lesson, the thing, you have to get the thing. We have to get the piece. And that's kind of the whole game. That's the whole journey, right? So Rita brought up, this example of our wounding that can happen, how we're treated in this lifetime. And then there's the ancestral pieces of working too with our lifetimes prior or our generational lifetimes, right? So,
absolutely, yes.
And so that might be something like, for instance, playing out a cycle of abuse that may have been through the family line, right? That keeps perpetuating, or a cycle of alcoholism, or a cycle of addiction, right? Or a cycle of degradation. These patterns that, when you look through your life, you're like, well, everything's really good except for this one thing, or I keep seeing this thing show up, right? So those are some clues that's like, what is that? Doesn't feel maybe in alignment with some of the other parts of my life. Where is it coming from? So what's so cool with the work that I think that we're both sharing and activating daily is that you get to skip something in a way, because you don't have to live out some horrible experience once you tap in to, oh, that doesn't belong to me. That's my ancestors. And I can go into the field and reframe it, rework it, heal it here, and then I don't actually have to live it out. I sure wish I knew that until after I did it. No, I didn't have a me, so I was literally just wading through the stuff going, I want all my things, and I'm going to go whatever it takes. I'm getting home.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that. I know your determination, and you have that, and I have that too, and I wonder, because I see people like you and I to be so determined, and I often don't see that spark in other people. So it's quite interesting to see that spark in you. I love that.
That spark you talk about, I call that hunger. That a hunger. I love the hunger too. I love it when someone's got a hunger, a thirst to evolve, to expand, to grow. And that's the Christic seed, really, the star that many of us are, that we're infinite suns, we're infinite lights. And I like to say that we are just peeling the layer of the onion to reveal the layers within, to reveal the brilliancy of that which rests within inside of us.
Absolutely.
So it's so cool that, I love the reflection, because Rita and I right now, what are we doing? We're reflecting. And it's a really cool reflection because it's so fun and similar. And so we get to see how the work actually creates joy in kind of our own selves, I'm experiencing like good job in myself as I look at you actually.
Oh, I feel that. I feel your joy, and I also feel like, wow, if that's my reflection, I'm happy.
Right? Right. So, how do we get to this joy? Well, peeling these layers of the onion, we have to do that. And it wasn't always joyful, as I'm sure it wasn't for you either.
Oh,
Right.
God, no, God knows, no, not at all, not at
Yeah.
all.
So, what the stuff we talk about, obviously, we do this work because, well, we had traumas of our own and we worked through them and learned and kind of mapped out ways to do that. And also, the beauty of that for myself is, it makes it kind of like, well, I experienced this, what I would call the hero's journey, to then understand how to get back out of the well, at the bottom of the well of molasses, climb back out and actually, do it and go ta-da. And that's how it felt in my journey, right? I mean, it felt like that. And like, oh, this is hard. I guess it is pretty difficult down here. It's deep and we can't move. And then to go all the way to the bottom for myself and my deep dives into the pantheon of what's happening here in the earth grid, diving all the way to the bottom and understanding the depths of that and how stuck and hard it really is. Just breathes more compassion into the field as well, right?
Yes, compassion is where it's at, and it's often when I'm sitting with clients, perpetrating energy comes in, so perpetrator victim bond, and it happens so often. And actually, perpetrator victim bonds are more even more wounding than the familial and family bonds, and they stay with you forever. And to be able to live at your perpetrator with compassion is such a freedom, and it's something that confuses most people, but it is the freedom and the that we desire for this lifetime.
Ooh, this is cool you're bringing this up. So I call that victim-victimizer programming. And it's actually a program that is inserted early on. So victim-victimizer programming and Christ crucifixion programming are two heavily used programs. So that would be is that whole setup, the blame game, the victim-victimizer playing the blame game, that, that we don't have control, that we're not in charge. It's not able to take responsibility, not ability to really create for oneself, but to consistently push away. So, and then the Christ crucifixion programming is that like, well, aren't you a good person, Rita? I mean, aren't you going to like help everyone because you're nice? I mean, you're nice. You love God, don't you? So wouldn't you do this X, Y, Z? Makes you feel bad, the guilt thing, the dying on the cross, right? That whole gig. So a lot of this is programming that literally, so the way I see this, and this might be a different vantage point for you, and I'd love to hear about what your work with it, but this cool way of actually releasing programming. So the way I work in the body is I see it like wires. So I actually see the programs and we can release them, but they're running based on our wounding. So you're talking about the wounding aspect, and then I'm actually just detailing that it's a program that wounding is running, and then the program, it can be removed, and then you can then remove the wounding line. That gives you a minute to kind of work it again, right? It's the same thing you're doing in a different format. We're just explaining it differently. How would you explain it?
Well, I would explain it. Looking at once again through the lens of ancestry, is the victim perpetrator bond repeats. It's all the wars, all the genocide, all the oppression, all the mass rape, forced migration, colonization. I mean, come on, it's
Right,
like we're
it's
riddled.
huge.
The
Oh,
humanity, that's our humanity kind of. That's how we human beings evolved through this plight and challenges, and maybe of a different perspective, but I sit with this all the time with these people who are like still feeling that we're still in war. They're still living in the war.
No, I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that. I think especially the masculine is heavily, I mean, I feel for the masculine very much so, the amount of work that is there to unwind the rape, pillage paradigm, that whole war, paradigm that was exactly what you said, perpetuated during these dark ages, during the fall of humanity. I would call it more in that way, during the fall of humanity. We were not always this way. In my viewpoint, we actually come from a very high system, and there were falls, and they were, some of that is like the Atlantean Falls, the last big fall. So, we've been in a 26,550 year cycle that's just ended. and we're starting a whole new amazing cycle, which is why it's so exciting right now, right? With the ascension, to what we call ascension time. But what does that mean? It means the opportunity to vibrate higher, to release our duality, to release that which doesn't serve us. Duality, in my vantage point, duality is pain. Pain is duality.
Mm-hmm.
It sits us in the framework of trauma. It's either this or that. I mean, if it's either, it can never, you're always swinging on the pendulum, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're getting to 0 point, neutrality.
Yeah.
We're getting to that zero essence and to the point of where we can really activate source continually, itinerally. I talk a lot about the crystal spiral and about being on the crystal spiral, which is the ever expanding. Is that a phrase you're used to?
I love that. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say it that way, but when you say it, my body really responds.
Cool. It's the open flower, like that ever expanding the circles, the multiplying circles.
So like golden ratio, something like that?
Golden ratio, no. Golden ratio is actually the Fibonacci sequence,
Yeah.
which is the Metatronic downward spiral. That's the parasitic spiral. And the normal flower of life, go check this out online if you guys want. I mean, not a call to action or anything. Just, I love to check this out. And it's the normal flower life is a finite symbol. If you look at it, it feels finite. Like you can feel it like a container. So this is circular. If you put in like, crystal flower or crystal spiral, you'll see, the interlocking circles, and it's 8 circles interlocking and then continuously out. So this ever expanding. So when they said like biblically, go forth, expand and multiply, we it's really our energetics. Like we are energy, we're frequency. So we get to stay connected in math to 0 at all times. The Fibonacci sequence adds numbers, so it consumes the numbers. So as you move along the spiral, it's very difficult to find your way back to 0 because it's a consumption model. Whereas the Christic spiral is a multiplication model. So you're doubling. So you can always just half it back and end up at 0. So physics, quantum physics wise, mathematically, you are staying connected to source at all time as we ride this Christic spiral, which you are. You just don't know it as that term, but that's what we're doing on a math level, right? On like if we're choosing either this, path of expansion or we're choosing this path of decomposition.
Beautiful. Yeah. I did not know that.
Fun, right?
Yeah.
It's so fun because to me everything's a metaphor. It's just like the same thing said all different ways. Right?
Yes, I agree.
Like it's just a giant joke, honestly.
Yes. I have a question for you, and tell me if this relates or not. So, do you believe that as human beings, as we're born into this life, that we are predetermined? So our life is predetermined already, or can we change the course of our life?
Oh, absolutely. I think we can change the course of our lives. I think we are divine creators and that we are the leading edge of the eyes of God. So, what we're doing right now, we've never done. So let's go wide for a minute then. Because if we go wide, we go to what are we even in? So in my perspective, I see us as being in a 15-dimensional matrix, and that matrix is nestled next to 3 other matrices. There's 4 in this group of matrices. And then there's continual circles of matrices. So there's a ton of them, millions of matrices. So we have endless matrices. There's a bunch. I can't even begin to name those or imagine it myself, right? But I know we're just in this very small aspect. This particular one, we've had opportunity in this moment. It was in a fall. It was in a fall for a long, long time. And we are having opportunity to rise up. The earth itself, the earth is choosing to vibrate upward, to collect her pieces, to engage in a more harmony, to come back together, magnetic electric balance, which then will move us into more of a 5th dimensional frequency, which becomes Tara, really, as we move more forward into our 60-70 format of the earth, which becomes Gaia, which we were before. So because time is not linear, it's just a location. We are in essence calling that energy back in, but it's not really back because it's not forward or back, but it's so hard to talk about, right?
Yeah.
So just right there, what does that kind of spark for you? Any of that stuff?
Well, the concept of time is quite interesting. I understand that it's kind of a made up concept for human beings to kind of have some kind of a some kind of a grounding. But I often see in my sessions as well, and also in the dream world, there is really no time. It's like it's really beautiful to live outside of time, and just to, if we're going to bring it to this human experience, I feel when I'm fully present and I'm really relaxed, I'm completely outside of time because I can truly enjoy, and time slows down, and it's beautiful to be able to experience that nonlinear reality. It's in the body, in the body.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I get to also travel a lot and experience the dimensions and nonlinear time. And yeah, it's not linear. I mean, it just isn't. You know, I mean, it's like I can't believe the stories that I'm seeing often myself. I'm sure you feel the same way, that it gets just really blows your own mind. There's no way you can hold on to this concept of linear time when you access these places where you're seeing scapes in the future as well, right? Future scapes, not just past scapes, because, well, again, it's forward and backward. To me, time, I frame it as time is a location. And it makes it's easier for folks to understand too. It's like, let's go to that location. Like if you can just wrap your head around that, like it's a place, in a space, a moment, it's a location. So we're at 2025. That's where we're at, and there's certain things happening at this location, and there's certain things that can't happen yet at this location, for instance, because things are a certain way at this moment, right? Certain things are unfolding in the scape of the big, long game. And then you have to remember, well, it's a big, huge, long game. So is it this big, huge game inside of this matrix that no matter what happens inside the matrix, you can go up, you can go down. In essence, it all just goes back to the infinite source. That's how I see that.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I've had experience of that on my own, and also being in this physical body. It's also really lovely to be able to experience that with another human being. And it's somewhat rare, I would say. It's rare. And I feel like a lot of us are looking at in our partners, and there's a lot of challenges that comes up, and there's a density in, once again, trauma, drama, perceptions, beliefs, who believes in what. And I'm just sitting with this humanity of wanting to unite with someone else. And how do we do that? And does that exist even? I don't know. It's just, I'm always questioning that, because as I go through, let's say, relationships, intimate relationships, I'm with my second husband and I'm very happy, but I also see the potential for growth and evolution, and I would love more of it in my life with him. And sometimes I feel like, what? He's happy where he's at and he doesn't need to go anywhere else. And I have absolutely no judgment for it. But then it's just always curious to see, how do you travel with someone else in those dimensions?
Right. Yeah. It's such big work. And, honestly, well, I personally don't either. I mean, on a personal note, I have not in a relationship. Like I'm in a solo situation in this moment in my life. So like I'm not navigating with a partner. And I do think, those that are in partnership, I have dear friends that are in twin flame unions that I absolutely adore and love. I love that. And I feel like, you're in a really juicy union. And I think when you're in a juicy union, the opportunity to do that is obviously present. And part of keeping that is to remember why we come together, in my viewpoint. I mean, even though I'm not in a relationship, I think it's about also keeping our autonomy, because what I've seen fail in other places in my experience, right, well, obviously is the wounding. My last experience was very different and had a lot to do with spiritual wounding and work, and was a very karma experience for me to do my own hero's journey, I would say. But my previous partnership was more of, I would say just the regular wounding, which is our mother-father wounding. And I think everyone's doing that, whether you know it or not. You're playing out your mother-father wounds. So we have to get through that. And that's often what I see keeps people, is that they tend, if I look at, like, I've counseled couples, I've been in relationships, I work with people deeply every day dealing with their traumas. And often what happens is we place each other in roles. We put expectations on who they're supposed to be now. I can't tell you how many times I've heard someone say, well, you'd think your husband would act a certain way, or you think your so-and-so would do blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, just because you put a label on them of so-and-so doesn't mean they understand any of those concepts. That makes absolutely no sense. So we do a lot of projecting. We do a lot of what I call postcard creating, right? We like, I want the picture, I'm going to have that thing. But we're not really creating from our hearts and our coherent heads and really falling in love with a person. We're falling in love with an idea often. So when I do see true unions, it's, to me, those unions are people who really listen to one another. They really give each other a lot of time and space. They are truly helpful to what one another's path is, not what it serves them, but what's the other person. They're looking to make their other person's life enhance the other person's experience, right? So there's a genuine giving, and so, but that requires us to be out of wound. So back to where we started is, this is why you do the work. If you want to have a juicy, yummy, awesome, fiery relationship, well, we have to do the work and get out of trauma so that we can meet each other unfiltered, where we're safe, connected to God, in our yumminess. And then now I'm already whole. And now you're just coming to the table whole. And we're both coming to that table whole to create the Trinity, the tri-wave outside of ourselves. So, because for me, it's about sacred marriage within. And it's a workshop that a colleague and I offer, and at times a sacred union within. And that's first and foremost, right? We can't really unite with another being until we're united within ourselves and the framework I'm working with. And I think you would probably
Absolutely
agree, right?
Yes.
So, because we're making that 2 holes, and then that creates 3 circles, something greater than ourselves, right? And that's the reason we come together, to share the codes, to share that yumminess, to share what we actually can activate in one another's DNA and our code and our geometry, really our vibratory geometry. We're merging vibratory geometries and expanding that out into the greater field. That's why we unite, right? So if we're not doing that, I'm kind of like, why do it?
That's what I'm saying to you. Exactly. This is how I love to live my life. Yeah. And I agree with you. And thank you for the reminder, is that this human experience, we meet just the right people to reflect just the right thing for us to grow as souls, as human beings. So there's such perfection in all of it. It's just, there's such perfection. And I'm only human. And once in a while I get a little frustrated. I'm like, oh my God, I want this, I want that, but if I stay present and I breathe through this and I embrace the situation as it is, there's such incredible, it's just like a lock and a key. It just opens me up to my incredible depth and my incredible potential to just live this life that I'm meant to live on purpose.
Yes, absolutely. I think, when we deepen in and realize, well, we give ourselves everything we need, and any person that we're experiencing our life with in partnership is just, makes it better, right? It's not, they don't fill anything. If they're filling something, then we're reaching. Right. And so we need to go, no, I'm connected to God, the source of I have it all. And then I'm just like, hey, let's connect and share that and engage from that place. And, gratitude, right? Going back to gratitude.
Big time.
Anytime we have any issue, for me, gratitude's my number one. Just get grateful about, anything. And I have so much to be grateful for. And I have so many pictures in my mind of traumatic things from many places, and from traveling and witnessing and observing and working in poverty and working in a lot of different scapes, that I have a lot of easy moments to recall up that I'm like, I'll do the toilets too. I'm happy to scrub the toilets. I'm grateful for my mission. I'm grateful for this moment. I'm grateful for hot water.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, I understand that well.
Yeah. So we're going to take a quick station break, and we're going to come back here in a few moments with a little more intuitive talk story. Oh, actually, we're going to stay here for a minute, and we're gonna keep talking. And so I've got to get it all set up. So you know what, Rita?
Yes.
Why don't you tell us a little more about what you think about relationshiping? Well, I take a minute here to take a second.
Sure. Well, relationship to me, you spoke about mother and father earlier, and this whole thing with mother bond to me is defined my life in many ways. I have a beautiful relationship with my mom. It took me many years to really embrace and invite her and accept her for who she is, just like her as she is. No need to change. Took a lot, and I feel like that completely transformed my ability to receive life, to receive love, to be in an intimate relationship. I had no idea how completely loyal I was to her blindly, to everything that she's ever taught me, like blind loyalty, fully. And when the mask falls off, and when I'm realizing like, oh my God, I'm operating in this very masculine way, and I'm thinking I'm a woman, but I'm actually really being very masculine and very disconnected and very rude and very pushy, and there's like this very pushy energy that shows up in me that I'm looking at and breathing and I'm having compassion for, because my mother has bowed down to war all her life. The unconscious of my mother has been, we're going to bow down to war. There are no men. All men die in war. And if we have men, we will accept any man, the abuser, the alcoholic, the rapist. It doesn't matter. We're going to accept just the fact that a man exists. For her is a really big deal. There's no discernment. We just bow down to men because that's what she grew up in. And it's quite crazy how much I absorbed that through her womb, through her breasts, through her lineage, and how much I had to really peel the onion and let it go, and still letting it go on a deeper level. How do I surrender to this softness within me? It's so easy for me to be harsh and cold and forceful, but the softness is what makes me happy.
Ooh, I can relate to that. Totally. I come from a long line of strong matriarchal women as well. And wounding. And well, thankfully now I've cut but there was curses and all sorts of stuff going on in my lineage that I've now released, actually. This last 5 years, it's been a lot of deep work for me, and a lot of opportunity to cut a lot of things and let go of a lot of things that were hindering the lineage. And but yeah, this strong, very, very, very much masculine, get it done. We're very doers. We get my grandma taught us all how to make. We know how to do everything. And so yeah, I also feel that, and I've been working. I think probably as you have been, because I see you as being very feminine and juicy and soft in your connection. And I think sometimes it's even easier with other women to do that, because we're matching one another and moving in that softness together. But to stay in that softness when maybe the masculine, and where I've had a hard time with that is, I think when the masculine isn't really standing in its masculine, right? Then I can't really stand in my feminine in the way the masculine wants me to. And that's something we can explore in a minute. I got this figured out. Here we go.
Hey, I'm DJ Lovegood. You're a star because you're listening to KNKR LP 96.1 FM Kohala.
Okay, and we are back. So we were having a pretty cool conversation here about some of our programs, our wounding, working through our traumas, mother-father issues. And we were kind of talking about our mother-father issues. I was going to also, we were talking about how I've got my own mother stuff going, but then I also had father wounding, which of course drew me in all the fun relationships that I got to have. So that got to work out all of my stuff, so I've been, just in the field working it out this whole time. You can relate.
Me too, very much so. I'm constantly working it out.
Yeah, so it's quite the ride, right? None of us get out unscathed, and we all get to go through the rounds of trauma, whether they're big or small. I like to always tell clients, a trauma doesn't have to be like you were abused or harmed. Not all of us have had really deep stories. Some of us have. And other of us maybe just were in the car for 6 hours while we were on a road trip and nobody fed me. And I now think people are starving me and they don't care and they don't trying to hurt me. So things can get laid in that we don't really think about. And oftentimes we dismiss as like, my mom's just like that. Well, she does that. I mean, whatever. We do that a lot, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I wanted to add to that yes, there's like big traumas, small traumas. And what's interesting is that however we perceive it, we have a way to, I never want to be like my mother. So many women have said that to me. I never want to be like my mother. My biggest fear is to become like my mother. And those are the women who become exactly like their mother.
Yes.
And it's
Yes.
interesting because rejecting, this is what I wanted to say.
Yes.
Rejection doesn't push you away, it brings you closer. But it brings you closer to their shadow, not to their light.
That's right, because it's energy. Either way, right? Whether we're giving something towards it or against it, I'm still giving it energy, which therefore creates it. So, and we have to accept what is and move through, like we said earlier. You got to get through the fire, right? There's no around the fire.
Yes. There is no way around the fire. And whenever I'm sitting with clients, and I had a gentleman who came in to me, such a sweetheart, like in his 50s, and he said, I really hate my father. And he's 50 years old. And he's like, and I don't care what you say. There is absolutely no love for him in my heart and never will. And I looked at him and I just took a deep breath and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, you are just repeating exactly the pattern that your father brought into this life. And you're just living it because he's so hurt and he's so wounded and he's so afraid to open that up. And that he cannot have relationships, because if your heart is close to your father or your mother, there's no way you can be in a healthy relationship. It's impossible.
That's right.
It's just interesting. And sometimes people need time, and sometimes you work on something else while they're warming up, because it takes time to trust. It takes time to build that. And some people are courageous enough to dive in, and some people are not.
That's right. I definitely have come to that. I used to think everyone was going to do it this time around, and I realized they're not.
No.
And that's okay. And that's all right. Not everyone is wanting or ready to, face the shadow and meet the mirror.
Oh, God, absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
And that's okay. But for those of you who are ready out
Yes,
there,
yes.
there's so much here for you to use. There's so many tools out there to deepen into the self and to really, get yourself free. That's what Rita and I, are both talking about, is getting ourselves free. And then in getting ourselves free, we reflect with others and are able to help them get free of these paradigms by understanding how we got out and how we got there in the first place, right? And so that's really what we're doing, is we're deconstructing what's happened, and then we're rewriting it, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
And on a vibrational level, on a physical level, on a mental level, on a spiritual level, on a food level, all these things matter. What we're putting in the body, how we're using it on a daily basis. So, Rita and I both dance a lot and move a lot. So reflect a little on that.
Yeah, I was just thinking somehow meridians and meridian system came in, and I'm thinking, oh my God, if I'm not getting enough sleep, or if I'm having toxic emotions, or if I'm eating crap like dead food, which is like 99%, unless you really, really pick it, I shut down. I don't have life force. And for me, movement and really water is really important for me. Like really clean, high quality water is very important, and like sprouting and all that, like a live food is really important. I feel how much my meridian system, my energy, I can actually flow with this life, and this energy that is external to me now is coming into my body. Otherwise, I'm always fighting against it. I'm constantly like, I'm alone, I'm a victim. There's nothing that goes in. And movement and good food allows me, and obviously healthy emotional patterns allow me to say yes to life and bring in this juicy, nourishing vibration. And there's so much of it. There's an abundance of life, but you have to be able to, your body, the sacredness of this body, you have to have open vessel. Your vessel has to be open to receive it. And you cannot have toxicity in your body while that happens. Because if you have toxicity, nothing can move in, nothing. So we're creating space for the newness to come in.
Woo! Yes, sister. Yes, the new earth, and the new earth exists first within ourselves, right?
Yes.
We're creating the new earth out here. What does that mean? It means a purified temple that we get to live and vibrate within as co-creators of life, right? Through God's living light, through the light of the infinite. And that's a whole nother discussion of, getting into the word God. We'll get into that next time. But and just what are we talking about on that level? But for right now, just feeling that balance and feeling that connection and what you're just
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, for example, why did I choose? So I've danced all my life, and I've been in movement all my life, and I love yoga absolutely very much. I need it. Yet my choice of dance is tango. And this is to me so precious, because it is this ultimate dance of men and women. It's just, and of course, right now, I mean, all kind of people dance. So it's not just about men and women, but it's what it means to me. It's that subtle energy. It's that surrender where I can feel the partner. I could feel the music. And once again, time has no meaning to me when I'm dancing tango, and I'm in my body fully relaxed, and I'm just dancing this dance. And it is so, it's that geyser, that energy that like rejuvenates me, that nourishes my fascia, my heart, my soul, my bones. And there's effort. It's effortless. It's completely effortless. And I love that word because, once again, I've shared with you, I've been so forceful in my life out of fear. And like tango is the alchemy for me. I just surrender and I let go and I flow with the river. It's beautiful.
Ooh, I love it. And I just love, again, the reflection. I have to say, salsa, as a salsa teacher, salsa is that for me. And it is the place where I've been a dancer and performer my whole life, like you. And I was an ice skater and professional skater and competitive skater. I should say competitive, not professional. Competitive skater. And then I was, dance teacher and company, and I teach kids and do all the things for many years, theater programs, and I worked very hard at learning a lot of different styles. West African, I worked very hard learning and, sweat, blood, and tears. Africa, concrete floors, 6 hours a day, working hard, gaining knowledge and energy, just a lot of work through my body. But salsa has always been part of like my heritage and my family, and swing and salsa. I grew up kind of dancing both in my family, like kind of like in the back room with all the cousins and my grandpa. And, it's like dance was always part of our lives. We always had, my grandpa, we always had things at the VFW because they were put in the war, right? And then so we'd have all of our family gatherings at the Veterans, VFW, the Veterans World Affairs, what is that? Foreign Wars. And so anyway, and dance. So salsa for me too, I like to teach it in the way of sacred union. I like to share. I'm so sure you could so relate. It also makes me feel like the one place I don't have to lead, because I just get to follow and I don't have to think about anything, right?
Yeah, totally. I love that you said I don't have to lead. It's so good.
Right.
I don't have to lead for once.
I know. It's like the only place. And so it's just so nice to just let go. And really, it has helped me so much to deepen into my feminine or my magnetic. I like to really, deepen into those words too, because we get stuck on the feminine, masculine words. We think of like woman, man, and it's not, right? We're talking about energies here. We're talking about aspects, and the masculine could embody more of their magnetic electrical energies if maybe you don't think about it as feminine energy, because it's not. It's magnetism. So you want to be magnetic, don't you?
I do.
Right?
Yes.
Men out there. So,
Yes.
right? So this magnetism, electric energy that we get to explore in these couples dances, right? Are
Absolutely.
so juicy.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go back to what you're saying about food and about the vessel and the temple. I couldn't agree with you more. I'm in the same, I concur. And I like to think about this little story. I'll bring it back up. The Golden Child for American folks. And maybe, I don't know if you ever saw this movie being from the Ukraine. It's in the 1980s, late 80s, 90s. Eddie Murphy. And it's called The Golden Child. Anyway, it's an American movie, but what's great is they showed it like so simply. They had this little Buddha boy, Buddha of compassion. The evil comes to take him. If they kill the Buddha, they kill compassion. Okay, so they steal him. They put him in a room with a bunch of negative graffiti and bad prayers that they're pushing all around him to try and make him toxic, to try and create toxicity in him. They're putting oatmeal in front of his little cage, and then he turns it over with his mind, and there's blood in there. And he doesn't eat it. So he pulls a leaf out of his pocket and eats one little leaf, puts it back, and continues meditating in this little cage. And so that image has actually helped me a lot in this journey, because it was like it showed you if the little Buddha boy touches you, he turns you back into God. Okay, so if you get the toxicity in him, they could kill him. But if he touches you and he's not toxic, he vibrates you back into life, which is what it is, because of what you just said, right? When we are in a purified vessel and there's no toxicity here, then you have full authority and vibratory resonance to infinite source, back to that, and can just radiate what we truly are with no hindrances, back to the onion. You can just be the onion with no bunch of stuff on it, right? And so we get to radiate that, and all of us have that capacity. But we think about what are we served every day. Honestly, many people don't think about what they're served every day, but we do. And I'm going to impart out there on the, take a look at the back of a label. Like when we look at the labels, we're like, wow, if anything, there's fructose or sugars. These are kind of, that's straight up poison. My friend Tara and I always say, like, get out of the sugar game. Just get out of the sugar game. It's literally killing us, and all the bugs love to eat it, right? So it's a bug game, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Right? So we're like, we just don't want any bugs. And so the more you purify this thing and the more you live in harmony with your own head and your own heart, then you get to live bug free, which means you rule your own mind. And now you're not feeling like all moody and all just, bobulated each day because you're ruling your own game. And that's kind of what we're both sharing here is how to be sovereign, like, and different ways to get there. But we got to all go through our trauma to get sovereign, right?
That's what I'm saying. And I was just thinking how blessed I am. Literally, I got free with this sugar game, like no more sugar. A month ago, my body decided it doesn't want it, but not because I'm forcing it, not because I'm compromising. I'm really enjoying eating healthy because I'm simply enjoying it, not because it's forceful.
Yeah.
But it took me so long to get there. And now it's like the self-love came in so strong for me like a month and a half ago. It's just really came in where I really respect this vessel and I really enjoy feeling good. And this whole thing of like being foggy and feeling lethargic, it doesn't work. I can't. Or being hyperactive because when I eat sugar, that happens. No. I really enjoy like relaxing, being calm, enjoying being in my body, not leaving my body. And sugar does not help that at all. And it's just fun to eat live food. It's just fun. It's fun and there's no sacrifice whatsoever. I love that I'm there in this moment. I love it. And it took a lot of letting go of the trauma, the wound with the mother for specifically. I had a lot of letting go to do and I faced a lot of things courageously. And it also takes commitment because you have to take action. It's not just going to a therapist and, it's about how do you do that every day in your life? How do you bring it into reality?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it's been a journey to get to where I was marveling and giving thanks the other day myself that I'm like, God, I love that I just love to eat a yam and a carrot and a cucumber. And it's like, I'm super satiated. It wasn't always like that. I loved cookies too. I grew up in America eating fast food. I grew up with all the stuff. I've eaten everything. I mean, the whole journey, I've killed it all. I've eaten it all. I've done it all. Like there's nothing I feel like I didn't do. I feel like, I'm not talking from any place of judgment. Eat whatever you want out there, just from what feels good and my experience of my body. And I've kind of done it all. And then I've given up almost everything at this point. And so many things that we would think of as being things to give up. But really, it's like they're not. It's like, why were we ever programmed to do that in the first place? It doesn't even make any sense. And I had that same revelation of what you just said, like, I want to eat live foods. I had stopped eating meat and I'd stopped drinking in 2020. And I went in 2022, I went traveling somewhere. And I had never noticed it before. But I noticed at the airport, I just was like, oh my God, like I was hungry. And I went to go see if I could find something. And just everywhere I went, and you go to any menu, anywhere, and everything's dead. Like there's nothing alive there. And I could just like death culture, death. I just felt it everywhere around me. And it was such a strong feeling, which was paramount because I hadn't felt it in that way previously. I'd felt other things about the culture and the intensity and the consumption, blah, blah, blah. But this real intensity, I don't think until you stop eating all the stuff, you don't see it. You don't feel it. And, the cheese thing, wow, the cheese thing is cool. Only in that I really get cheese pizza. Kids wanting cheese pizza. Oh, they're high on caseins. I actually did eat some Parmesan 2023. I had some cow cheese and I got drunk.
Oh, cow cheese.
And I got drunk on the cheese and then I was snotting for like 3 hours. And then I got it. I'm like, all the kids with their mucus and their pizza, I get it. I see what's happening.
But to most of us, I grew up with bread and potatoes, and that's what I have allergic
me too.
So that to me is love. So imagine for me to stop eating that, I would have to bring so much love into my body and not relying on external love.
Yes.
So it's like a huge shift. Food is love for us.
Yes, it is.
And it's like what we are fed when we are young. We want it. And sugar is love, especially if you're not getting the love that you want.
Cookies.
Yeah.
Candy.
And it's like how often a lot of us, like the parents are too busy. They don't understand. They're not really nourishing us emotionally, spiritually. And then they give us this food to like, this is how I love you. I'm going to give you this candy. And and it requires so much consciousness to slow down and to rewire that, and to really like, what can I give myself, what can I do myself, so that I can feel whole and complete inside. And it's a life's journey, and I know I have a lot more to go, but it's beautiful not to constantly be begging for sugar all the time. It's just beautiful.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. And the shift, I've been making a lot of baking. I've been baking a lot and making these vegan donuts, which are really good. And you wouldn't even know there's no sugar in it. It seems very much like it's just amazing. So you don't have to give up taste or anything. People think, oh, you have to give everything up and then you're just eating like dry wheat or, rye. But no, you can have super flavorful things and get super creative. In fact, I think it encourages my creativity actually to get a little more creative, because I can't rely on all the stuff I was told to eat as a child. I have to make up new things. So I have to find ways to, make my food fun and make it exciting. And actually it's really, I'm feeling very excited about it too. Like each day I feel
I'm in the same position. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels fun to give myself help, because I too feel the difference when I don't do something, or I, eat something that my body doesn't work for me. I too feel tired, lethargic, and I have so much energy on a daily basis. I'm so activated and so enlivened in my body that when I feel I'm like, ooh, I don't want to not feel that even a little bit. So I'm so with you.
Yes.
And dance, back to that,
Yes.
has definitely unlocked myself through my whole life. And I'm sure you agree. It's been the one thing that no matter where I could go to dance. And sometimes that was, a lot as a student, and also many of the last 25 years as a teacher a lot. And really just do choreography, just sweat, just be focused in the movement, focus in the muscles, focus in the breath, focus in the unlocking, focus in expanding a little piece. So the more you move, the easier it is. If you don't move it, you lose it. And so you got to move all this stuff. And this body is the temple unlocking all this stuff we talked about. So as you move, it'll help too. And that's also the next talk we have. We'll talk about movement and how the movement itself really has helped us unlock the body, right? And the trauma, and because that's been a huge piece, right? I'm sure you can agree for yourself.
Oh, absolutely. And I, from what I see, trauma lives in the body, and that's why when we're stuck in our heads, we're numb and we cannot feel inside of our body. And if we cannot have access to the body, then we can't really bring up the thing that we need to go through. Like you said, you need to face it. You need to be courageous. But if you're numb to it and you don't know it exists, you can't face it. So a lot of us, they numb ourselves with sugar, with alcohol, with whatever else we do, just to feel the pain. It's just a constant avoidance of pain.
Absolutely. And that, and pain goes back to our duality, back to our trauma. We're avoiding looking at what's running the game, basically. But when we get brave, it's the dog, the barking dog. When you just turn around and go, hey, what is it what do you want? What is this? The dog stops barking. And then we're able to really realize that the dog just wants to be pet, or just is hungry. It just wants love too. It's not scary, right? It's not. And so we put on this projection that it's something scary. So we keep running, and we keep running. But turn around, face the dog, love the puppy, love the little thing there, love your inner self, your little child, that's in there. And that's really what it is our relationship to our inner child. That's the relationship we're referring to, is this relationship that you're working with, is that one of your inner self who's remembering all these old scapes and is needing to let them go so they can, really embody the next level of who you truly want to be and experience yourself as.
Yeah, absolutely. And just turning around and fiercely looking at it, it's just such an important piece to remember. And I've been doing that a lot, and I'm doing that with people who come and find me, and it's just a blessing to have the tools to be able to face fear. It's wonderful.
Absolutely. So with that, let's take a breath for a minute. And there's a breath I'd love to share that's kind of an easy, super simple breath, which is just breathing all the way up through your belly, continuing to rise through your lungs, all the way up into your head, and allowing that energy to go up through your lungs, holding it to the top of your head, and then pushing it from the back of your breath, the back of your body, down through every ventricle of your lungs, all the way down, not skipping any places. So you're breathing it all the way out. So try it again, breathing all the way up through the stomach, filling the lungs, filling it up to the top of the head, and then slowly dropping it in the back of the throat, kind of, and then back through the lungs. Don't skip. We tend to want to skip the breath and let it jump. So don't let it jump. Just keep practicing. In your cleansing, think of that breath as pushing out any density. And that's going down that grounding that we connected in the beginning, that you're just releasing anything and anything that this talk's brought up, letting it go. And just bringing in some yumminess for yourself of your own beautiful essence. I receive love. I am worthy. As you breathe through the body, releasing any cords, any energies that maybe now have come to light. And you can use this breath anytime. I love to use it when I'm going to sleep. Just breathing yourself through the body, releasing through the body. So, thank you. Thank you, Rita.
Thank you, Michal. This has been so much fun.
So much fun. And I'd love to have you.
I would love to be back.
Let's do it. So excited to present Stereo Gab. All right. Aloha.
Aloha.